Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Cam.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. And today, Cam, I'm going to start off by apologizing to everyone listening, depending, because I believe this could end up being the longest episode of the podcast we've ever released. And I'll be honest, if that's true, it's probably too long, and I apologize for that ahead of time. Because Cam, we're talking about Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
You were excited about this one, I know, because ever since you and I started doing the podcast together, you have been like, hey, we're going to talk about Spider-Man soon. Let's talk about Spider-Man soon. I was just horribly slow at playing it. I did not beat it until last Friday. So, like, as of recording this, it was basically just 8 days ago. So, yeah, it took me a long time to get it, and get it done for, the sake of this podcast. But I did it for you, Cam. I did it for you.
I appreciate that, Jaden. I do.
Uh, so, of course, a fan favorite game developer of this podcast, Insomniac Games. Cam, what do you know about Insomniac Games? Never really talked to you about them before.
I'm gonna be honest, I've always been really bad with uh company
All
games,
right,
but
let me fill you in.
yeah, thank you.
So,
Appreciate that.
Insomniac Games. Now, it's possible they were developing games before this, but as far as I'm aware, they first came on the scene and started their very long and I would say very successful partnership with PlayStation on the PlayStation 1 with the Spyro the Dragon trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah, on PlayStation 1, they did Spyro Dragon. Then on PlayStation 2, they did Ratchet and Clank, the Ratchet and Clank series.
Oh, what? The Ratchet and Clank? I didn't know that.
Uh-huh,
Okay.
yep. Insomniac made Ratchet and Clank. Then on PS3, they continued Ratchet and Clank while also developing the series Resistance, Resistance Fall of Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of that series.
Mm,
Um,
I
I have never played Resistance myself, but it's a very, I think, well-received series. It's about like an alien invasion, and obviously, humanity is not doing well in that fight. And I believe it's a third-person shooter. It might be first-person, but I think it's third-person. And then they actually switched it up, developed the game Sunset Overdrive exclusive on the Xbox One. Unfortunately, did not perform well, but was received very well. People who played it really, really enjoyed it. After that, they came back to PS4, released a Ratchet and Clank reboot, and of course, Marvel's Spider-Man started, and then Spider-Man Miles Morales, more Ratchet and Clank, and now Spider-Man 2 with a lot of games that they are currently working on, planning, whatever, in various stages of development, including the Wolverine game and assumed Spider-Man 3. And there was also, Cam, I don't know if you saw recently a very big data hack of Insomniac that released a lot of potential projects they are working on.
Yes, I did. I saw that about
Yeah.
Wolverine. I actually even saw gameplay leaked from Wolverine.
Yeah, I did not check any of that because, I respect developers. So like whenever something like that happens, I typically don't look at it
Yeah.
because I'm like, that's not fair. They're
Yeah.
just trying to
Well,
they're just trying to make games, and some
I'm
people
I'm
I guess are mad at them.
I'm just a little curious kitty, so I had to go check
Yeah,
it
no,
out.
I get it. I get it. Yeah. Curious Kitty, I'm gonna start calling you that from now on. I like that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's Insomnia. So for me and Noah, Ratchet and Clank, huge series growing up. I've mentioned it plenty of times on the podcast. We talked about it once. You and I are going to talk about Ratchet and Clank eventually. Yeah, and Spider-Man, and just Spyro. Haley is a huge, huge Spyro fan. I've played through the Spyro Reignited trilogy, which is a remaster of the PS1 games, multiple times. So Insomnia has a very good track record of solid games for PlayStation and one for Xbox. We don't like to talk about that. I keep saying Insomnia, don't I? It's Insomniac.
Insomniac, yeah. I just thought I don't know. I thought I've heard you say Insomniac a lot. I thought that was like the one or two times I've heard you say Insomnia, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's Insomniac. If I've been saying it wrong, I just realized that. Anyway, so Spider-Man 2 came out in 2023, right? It came out this year. Yeah, it came
Yes,
out
yes,
like September.
yes, it did.
Yeah. Sorry, it's very actually by the time this episode comes out, it'll be 2024. So, uh, I guess last year, if you're listening to this episode, and I mean, it was very well received. It was nominated for 7 game awards, won none of them, but nominated for 7.
Absolute robbery, in my opinion.
Absolute robbery in Cam's opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I mean, yeah, classic hero Spider-Man. I don't know. I don't know what else to say, Cam. Do you have anything you want to talk about with your Spider-Man or Insomniac comments before we dive
Um,
into it?
I don't know. I mean, the main thing I will say though with like Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man is like, I mean, obviously like both great games, but what I can say is that there's improvement, and I mean that's always important to me.
Oh, I mean,
Improvement.
I mean, 1,000,000%.
Yeah,
There's much improved upon this game that we will talk about.
yeah, oh, yeah. That's why I'm not gonna say much, but like that's really the big thing I'd say too, because like if you're talking about like giving company its respects or their flowers, I give them their respect because, like I said, there was a lot of improvement in this game, and so yeah.
So let's hop into the settings. Spider-Man 2 takes place 10 months after the events of Miles Morales, which I don't know how long Miles Morales was after the first game, but I think you're looking at a total of about 2 years after the first game. The game takes place in New York City, which is split into several districts. There are the returning districts from the first 2 games: Central Park, Chinatown, the Financial District, Greenwich, Harlem, Hell's Kitchen, Midtown, the Upper East Side, and the Upper West Side. And then new districts kind of across the water, across the bridges. There's downtown Brooklyn, downtown Queens, Little Odessa, and Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Did I skip
Uh.
Astoria?
Yeah.
Astoria, if I skipped it. So the map, I mean, it's bigger. It's the new districts are pretty big. I would not say the map is twice as large because it's not, but it is definitely a sizable chunk larger.
Yeah.
That's the map. I don't know, Cam. What comments do you have on the map?
Yeah. No. No. You're good. Yeah. I agree. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember the map from Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 being too different. I mean, things were definitely moved around a little bit, but if anything, I just kind of noticed more of like a graphic update, maybe a color change a little bit.
Well, I will say one thing I do actually like about the new environments, the new districts, is if you listen to the podcast episode Noah and I did on Spider-Man 1, I'm pretty sure I said it because it's how I felt about it, but my one complaint about playing in New York and all the different districts was all the districts to me looked and felt the exact same. There might have
Mm,
been kind of some small differences, maybe, in Harlem there aren't going to be as many tall buildings as in the financial district, and so on. But for the most part, it's just a city, and there's not a lot of difference. I think that the new districts actually did add some variety to it. Like Astoria is like a suburb. There's a lot of just houses and trees. Yeah, it's a lot more spread out. It's a lot lower to the ground. That's cool. And then also there's kind of more of like a financial, not financial, what's that word I'm thinking of, industrial feel to some of the new environments as well, in terms of how they
yeah.
look. I just felt like they added some, yeah, visual variety that I appreciated.
I agree there. I think there was a lot of things that were the same, but like I think some things that like switched it up or gave it like true New York was like Chinatown. I always thought that's cool. I mean, at the end of the day though, it's like I got what I wanted. I got New York. I got the big
Yeah,
towers.
yeah,
I got the fun city with the honking horns and the talkative people.
yeah.
So
um
I can't too much about that, but I do understand where you're coming from.
yeah. I will also say I think they did a much better job of filling the world as well with the people and the traffic and everything. Not that it was bad in the first game, but I just noticed it a lot more in this one. I mean, specifically, you want to talk the last time I played this game, which admittedly I just turned it on while making it was I was making this document for this episode, and I was putting all the different stuff on it, like, oh, here's this thing and this thing and this thing, like, because there's so much that I couldn't even just remember everything.
Right.
So I pulled up the game just to be like, okay, yeah, this is all the stuff that's in the game. And there was literally a traffic jam. Because I started out in Astoria in the suburbs, and there was literally a traffic jam backed up like a mile, and I ran all the way to the front of it just to see this just very busy intersection with like stop signs and traffic going in all like both directions and stuff. And I was like, man, that's fun. That was just very. It was just very fun to. It was just
Yeah,
very fun to see that. Yeah.
there's been times where I've been like swinging around and I've seen like just a big line of cars, and I was just like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's awkward,
Yeah. I mean, it's
Imagine you're,
traffic.
I don't know, like, man, imagine being like an NPC in that moment, man. Like you're
Yeah.
still stuck in traffic for however long.
Yeah.
Just gotta,
Yeah.
well, I'm having fun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cam knows a lot about traffic because he drives all the time. Anyway, yeah, that one. Any,
Yeah.
anyway, anyway, we're gonna get on to the story here. So Peter starts his first day as a physics teacher with Miles among his students. But they're interrupted by an attack by Sandman, requiring both of them to subdue him. Fired for abandoning the class, Peter returns to his Aunt May's home in Queens, which he has moved into following her death, to meet with Mary Jane. That's why I went to the house, to meet Mary Jane. They're surprised to see Harry, who has miraculously recovered from his terminal illness. Harry hires Peter to work at his environmental technology startup, the Emily May Foundation, so they can pursue his dream of healing the world. Concurrently, Craven and his hunters secretly infiltrate New York. While overseeing a prisoner transfer, a vengeful Miles fails to rescue the incarcerated Martin Lee, who previously killed his father, from getting captured by the hunters. Peter investigates Craven and discovers he is hunting superpowered individuals for sport, having already killed Scorpion, Vulture, Shocker, and Electro. Craven attempts to capture Black Cat, however, Miles helps her escape to Paris. While visiting Coney Island to reconnect, Peter, Mary Jane, and Harry witness the hunters attack the park to capture a reformed tombstone. While Peter rescues civilians, he is assisted by a superpowered Harry, who learns about Peter's double life and reveals that he was cured by Kurt Connors via an organic exosuit that physically augments his body. With his powers rapidly developing, Harry helps Peter rescue Tombstone, while Mary Jane discovers that Craven has kidnapped Connors. The trio attempt to save Connors, but Craven forcibly turns him back into the lizard. Craven mortally wounds Peter, who is saved when the exosuit transfers itself to his body. After Peter confronts Craven with his newly enhanced powers, Craven develops an interest in hunting Peter personally. After Peter and Harry synthesize an antidote for Connors, Peter locates Connors with Miles' help and eventually defeats and cures him. Upon seeing Peter wearing the exosuit, Connors explains that it is actually an alien called a symbiote, which Oscorp obtained years prior, and warns Peter to destroy it. Under the symbiote's corrupting influence, Peter refuses and keeps it for himself despite learning that Harry's illness has returned, fracturing their friendship. When a symbiote-possessed Peter goes on a rampage against the Hunters, Craven captures Miles and forces him to fight Lee to the death. Miles overcomes his anger towards Lee and helps him escape, directing him to find Peter. Once Lee informs him of Miles' location, Peter arrives to rescue him and nearly kills Craven before Miles intervenes. Miles battles the corrupted Peter, eventually convincing him to remove the symbiote. Peter takes the symbiote to Oscorp to be destroyed, but a desperate Harry intercepts him and reclaims it, transforming into a monstrous creature. Harry escapes into Times Square, where he kills several of Craven's hunters before overpowering and killing Craven himself. The symbiote reveals its name to be Venom and convinces Harry to heal the world by infecting everyone in it with symbiotes. Venom transforms Mary Jane into Scream, but Peter helps her break free after battling her. As Peter and Miles attempt to stop Venom, Peter is debilitated by a trace amount of the symbiote still in him. Miles and Lee help tame it and convert it into the anti-venom symbiote, which can destroy other symbiotes. Currently, Venom recovers the meteorite that originally brought him to Earth, allowing him to begin colonizing the world. Peter and Miles distract Venom while Mary Jane steals the meteorite and destroys it with the EMF's particle accelerator, destroying Venom's spawn. At Harry's insistence, Peter destroys the Venom symbiote, rendering Harry comatose. In the aftermath, Mary Jane quits her job to run her own podcast and moves in with Peter, who opts to take a break from being Spider-Man to focus on rebuilding the EMF, trusting Miles to protect the city. Norman Osborn blames the Spider-Man for ruining Harry's recovery and visits an imprisoned Otto Octavius to demand their secret identities. Octavius refuses, taking glee in Norman's suffering. Miles completes his college essay and meets Rio's new boyfriend, Albert Moon, who introduces them to his daughter, Cindy.
Which
And
is
that's
very important.
which is very important. Do you know who Cindy is?
Yes, that's
Oh,
is that no. Is that the
uh,
name?
what?
Yes. Yes, it's Silk.
Correct. So I guess we'll start there. Silk, for anyone who does not know, Cindy Moon is another spider hero. She also gets bitten by a radioactive spider, develops spider powers, and becomes the hero Silk. So a potential tease for maybe you'll get a third spider person to play as in the third game when that comes out Maybe they'll even do another side game like they did Miles Morales, where they maybe they'll have her get her powers in that game, whatever.
Honestly, anything but those Mary Jane missions.
We'll talk about those later.
Anything but those, I guess. Honestly.
So anyway, so that's the story, Cam. Let's talk.
Okay, so that me and Jaden haven't really talked about this, at all.
Yeah, I
But
refuse to talk to him about games that we're
yeah,
going to
no,
talk about on the podcast.
but we have had our small talk about why Jaden doesn't think the story matches up, which I haven't heard his reasoning yet. And maybe if it doesn't match up, but it's just not fully there. But I would say that I think this is an amazing story because while you're going through this one main mission, you also have a bunch of side things they're doing to get to more parts of that mission. So I don't know, like I feel like they had a really good variety of boss fights as well as overall just a good story. I mean, like I was engaged the whole time. There was not one time where I was like, wow, this is a boring part. Like I feel like I constantly was kept entertained.
Yeah, the story took a while for me to get into it.
Right, okay.
Um, I liked the story. I did not think it was bad by any stretch of the word, but there are just things. I mean, there. I just had a lot more problems with it than I did, say, the first game or Miles Morales. I'll list some of those problems now. One, I feel like for a large chunk of this story, Miles really takes a back seat, and it focuses on Peter and Harry and their relationship. And to be completely honest, I did not care. I I found Miles' section of the story with him dealing with his like hatred for Lee, with just Miles' personal life and kind of the supporting characters around Miles. I liked all of that better than I liked the Peter, Harry, MJ stuff. Um, and it sucked to me that for a large chunk of this story, um, basically from the moment that Harry gets his symbiote suit is revealed, pretty much until I guess the mission where you fight Craven and like the mission where Miles gets captured, let's say. From symbiote revealed until Miles gets captured, which is a decent chunk of time. It almost exclusively focuses on Harry and I mean on Peter, and Miles takes a backseat. And I didn't like that because I just personally found Miles part of the story to just be more interesting, and that's the part I wanted to see more of.
For
Yeah, what's
me,
up?
there was kind of like two storylines which I liked, and that once again, that's why I said like it kept me interesting and engaged because like I know like when you were those characters, like you could switch from Miles to Peter, and they did have their own side
Yep.
missions, and there's the main missions, right? That they were a part of,
Yes.
and so I feel like I don't know, I just thought personally that was a good variety of stuff that I could use together, but I
I mean,
I understand what you're saying a little bit, like they
yeah.
didn't make it as important,
Well, see,
and
I mean,
maybe that's just because they made a game about him. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
see what you're saying. I agree with you, but that's talking gameplay stuff. I'm talking straight the story here. If you just played story missions, you would go a solid few hours without playing as Miles, like at all, and even really seeing him. You might get some like what's the word, like some phone call, like you might call and talk a bit. But I mean, it's even part of the story that like Miles is upset because Peter starts to just completely ignore him, not answer his calls and stuff when he has the symbiote
I
suit.
got you. Yeah.
Um, I also don't like how Craven works in this game because every iteration of Craven I've seen, he's a solo guy. He hunts. He wants to hunt. He's in it for the hunt. But in this, he has a literal army, and his literal army captures the people, brings them to Craven, so Craven can then fight them. And that's just so weird for what his character is.
Yeah, I agree. Craven, no, okay, that's one thing I will say. Craven didn't have any really good build up.
Yeah,
Like,
like
like there was no he felt less of a boss character than I felt like the Lizard or Scream or
yeah.
anybody else. To me, like he felt like he was more like one of those side bosses, not a
Well,
main boss. And that was true. That did throw me off.
I very much feel like he basically exists in the game because the people who wrote the story of the game thought, okay, we've created a world where Lizard doesn't exist anymore, and all of Spider-Man's main villains, which is the Sinister Six, are now in prison. how can we get some of these? How can we get some villains in this? Oh, let's have Craven bring them together because he wants to kill them, and that's it. Yeah, yeah, and again, Craven's thing's always been he wants to hunt, he wants to find you and whatever himself. But in this, like having your followers capture someone and bring them to you, and then you just fight them, that's not hunting. Like that's just I don't know what you want to call that, but it's not hunting. It really doesn't like I didn't like that part of it.
I yeah, I get you there. I understood that too. That was kind of stupid, but I get it. I think they did that probably just for the purpose of
Just getting
make.
other people in the game.
Yeah, and I'd also say too, like maybe you know how like everybody likes when you have Spider Man and it's against like 10 people,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they probably just had like the filler people. But yeah,
yeah.
no, I get you there too. I thought that was dumb.
Cool. Yeah, that's the story, guys. It's good, but I mean, it really took me a while to be like, okay, okay, I'm into this now. Anyway, we're gonna move on now.
Oh, by the way,
What's up?
it is Black Cat gay? I was so. Did you remember that? Do you remember that cutscene?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know if she's
So
lying or not
yeah, dude, I'm gonna be honest. That threw me for a loop. I just didn't know if that was new or like
because
that's
she lies a
like
lot.
okay. But has that all like has that been like okay? So you don't really know. I was just gonna
I
ask.
yeah,
I've been reading.
I'm not a big Marvel comic fan,
Me
so
neither.
I don't know. I mean, in not only just in comics, but in this universe, she previously dated Peter, and it certainly implied that, the two of them had sex. So I guess I would say she could be bisexual, but
Huh.
again, she also could have just been lying.
Yeah,
Mm,
I think that's interesting. I thought about that, and when I remember when she said that, I was just like, what? Like I don't feel like they ever portrayed her this way because like she's always been super flirty. You know what I'm saying?
well, that doesn't mean she can't be gay.
Oh no! In that moment, I don't know how that's important unless they're setting up for something.
Well, again, I feel like, saying I don't know she's lying. She could have just been playing for sympathy with Miles because that's
Yeah,
what she does. Like that's in the first game's DLC, that's how she got Peter to help her was very much playing the sympathy card
yeah,
because she knows that both Spider-Men will do whatever they can to help someone in trouble, even if it's, a criminal, a villain, whatever. And she uses that to her advantage. So honestly, don't know if she's lying or not. Who knows? Kind of like you said, she said that, and I just thought, huh, okay.
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah.
I moved on because it she was not in the game that long, and I thought, I mean, she's lying or she's not. I doubt it's gonna really matter in the future of this game.
Yeah, no, yeah. I thought that was very weird. And then oh something else like I don't know. Well, actually, we'll talk about it in a little bit. My bad. We'll
Okay,
talk about it. I'm sorry.
okay,
You're good.
all right, all right, all right. So now we're gonna move on, Cam.
It's sweet.
I mean, obviously the story is big, but let's talk about one of the biggest things. If you're doing a Spider-Man game, you gotta do it right. The combat. Cam, tell us about the combat.
The combat retains and builds upon the combat system of the first two games. You have a basic attack and dodge as your main two maneuvers, but now both Spider-Man are able to parry physical attacks as certain enemy types are impervious to dodging. Um,
Well, let's talk about this real quick. Just this basic combat setup. The parry, I constantly forgot it existed. And I guess if anything, it really, I don't think it's bad that they included it, but I never got it. Meaning, still spend, I would say, I guess hypothetically, for any normal attack, you can parry instead of dodge. But I'm just so used to dodging that that's all I did. And I would say 9 out of 10 times a parry only attack came up, I would just dodge and get hit because it's just what I'm like. I would just forget about it and do the wrong thing.
no, I use the parry attacks. I use them.
Yeah.
I
Um.
thought they're neat. They're cool.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's implemented well. There's nothing wrong with it mechanically, but just for me, after the other two Spider-Man games, I was just. I mean, I was just anytime an attack popped up, I would mash circle because that's the dodge button, and then I'd get hit and it because it'd be a parry only attack, and I'd just think to myself, "Damn it, parry, Jaden! God damn it, every time." Cam, tell us about focus.
Returning from the first game, building up focus allows you to both heal and take down enemies. New to this game, you must have a full bar of focus before you can heal. Yeah, I remember the focus, which I like it. I like it. It's cool. I mean, I think
Yep.
it gives you something to build up to while you're fighting. So that's
Yeah.
always nice. Like it
Yeah.
gives you a little motivation to be like, yeah, I really need to kick their ass. So
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. The only thing I feel like to comment on with focus. Oh, you if you build up a full focus bar, you can do takedowns. You can get an upgrade that allows you to spend 2 focus bars because you can also get upgrades to get up to 3. Upgrades to 2 focus bars to take down larger enemies, which is very useful upgrade. I would honestly recommend getting 2 focus bars and the ability to take down brutes as quickly as you can because brutes can be pretty annoying. Focus. Oh, having to use a full focus bar to heal. Yeah, in the first game, and I'm pretty sure Miles Morales, you could press down at any point and it would use whatever focus you have to heal. I am fine with them making you require a full bar because I feel like it's easier to build up focus in this game, or maybe I was just better at the combat in this one than the first one. But I feel like focus was easier to build up. And I do like the added challenge of if you get low on health, you can't just heal whenever you want. You do actually have to have a full bar. I think it just adds kind of just a tiny bit increase to the difficulty, and I like that.
Yeah, no, I liked it. And plus I feel like I got the focus bar every fight I had. Like any fight I was fighting with, I mean, as long as there was
Yeah.
enough like, guys that I was facing against, like I feel like I had that focus bar. But the one thing I will say though is I remember when we did it with Venom, I feel like to me at times it'd go by super quick, and then other times it wouldn't go by super quick.
Like the bar filling up.
Yes.
Anyway, skills. Defeating enemies and completing missions rewards you with experience points, which can be used to unlock skills for both Spider-Men. There are 3 separate skill trees in the game, one for Miles, one for Peter, and one that unlocks skills for both heroes. I'll be honest, this is a Jaden thing. Skill trees are fine, but I would say just the way I play games, which I guess an accurate way to describe that is I brute force my way through a lot of
Hmm.
scenarios, not a lot of finesse play for me, is I find maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6 abilities, and I exclusively use those in combat. I do not really branch out and use different abilities. So to me, skill trees are, for the most part, kind of optional because, I mean, there's what I think 45 maybe skills in this game. I don't know the exact count, and maybe there are some kind of passive skills, some that maybe boost abilities, decrease recharge rates, things like that. Obviously, those are always useful. But anytime there was, oh, hey, now you can do this to enemies, now you can do this to enemies, I would say of maybe roughly 30 new combat abilities you could get in this game, 30 might be too high. Let's go with 20. I probably used 5.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely the same way, but I will say the closer I got to the end of the story, I did start switching things around and getting a little more wild, just because it not only does
Yeah.
it change it around a little bit for me, but I will say though, I definitely invested all of my maneuverability ones though. Like when
Oh,
I'm like
well,
yes. I
yeah.
remember the one where you can do like a full loop. I
Oh,
got
I
that.
never used that ability once.
Oh, I just got
I
it.
could not figure it out. I could not figure out how to do it.
You
I
okay? I understood. I understood. No one could. No one
yeah.
could. I
I
understood.
I
You had to be at a really low point, have enough speed, and most of the time, the best chance of you being able to get like a really good one is if you do it over a bridge.
yeah, I figured. I accidentally did it once, and then
Oh,
I could never figure out how to do it again. Anyway, yeah, I mean there are several cool skills in this game, but yeah, I mean typically with me with skill trees, I find like I, I read through the skill tree, find like the 6 skills that I actually want, and I'll get those. And then after that, every level is just, I guess I'll get this skill now. I guess I'll get this skill now. Anyway,
I
so the
okay.
gadget system has been simplified from the first 2 games. Instead of a weapon wheel like system with your chosen gadget being activated at the push of a button, Spider Man 2 both lowers the number of gadgets to 4 and uses a 2-button activation, so all gadgets can be used at any time. So, yeah, it's like you hold R1, then assuming you have the gadget unlocked, square, triangle, circle, X. I guess technically there's 5 gadgets because the standard web shooter, but the standard web shooter, you just mash R1 to use it. It's the standard web shooter. I think I do, with the way combat works, prefer this style of gadgets. In the first game, I actually loved the gadgets, the weapon wheel. I used gadgets all the time. I guess, like many people, I used them too much because I saw in an interview one of the developers said the reason they cut down the gadgets was they felt like in the first game they made the game too easy. And I agree, the gadgets were very, very useful and powerful. And in this, they do act as more just combat support things, which I mean, it's very good. I thought the gadgets were very useful. I enjoyed all of them. And with the way the combat works with your other special abilities in combat, it works better because in Miles Morales, which had the same gadget system as the first game, I never used gadgets because I preferred to use the abilities. So I do like this new gadget system. I think they found a good one. Cam?
I agree. No, I was honestly I was the exact same way. Like I'm not really big into like having too many things to help me, because obviously it's like I do want a challenge at the end of the day, right? So I didn't really use them, but I did kind of branch off into them because I mean I was trying to unlock everything in 100% the game, which I did, and so yeah, no, I like this. I honestly I kind of like the my favorite was the web grabber. That was my favorite. I don't know if you use that one a lot, but that was my favorite gadget.
I actually did use that one a lot. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I think
Anyway,
my favorite was Upshot, but yeah.
oh, I liked Upshot. Anyway,
Not-
speaking of abilities, Cam, why don't you tell us about abilities?
So we have for Venom, we have the Venom Punch, Venom Smash, Venom Dash, and Venom Jump. The evolved Venom, we had Chain Lightning, Thunder Burst, my bad, Reverse Flux, and Galvanize. The symbiote, Venom, Anti Venom, we had Tempest, Punch, Strike, Blast, Yank Bomb, and then
Yank and Bomb are two separate ones. There should be a comma there.
oh, Yank and Bomb. My bad about that. Yeah, I didn't use all the abilities. And then we had Spider Arms, Spider Whiplash, Spider Rush, Spider Shock, and Spider Barrage.
And go ahead and throw the supers in there.
Oh, why not? We had the Symbiote Surge, which is for Peter, and then the Venom thing for Miles.
Yeah. So let's talk abilities. I love the abilities. I feel the same with the abilities as I did with Focus. So the abilities were first introduced in Miles Morales because Miles had the Venom abilities. Punch, smash, dash, and jump. Those are all returning. In Miles Morales, I felt like it took a long time to build them up, which was annoying because in Miles Morales they also had enemies that could only be defeated using specific Venom abilities. In this, I felt like, yeah, I just felt like I was able to build them up and use them a lot more, which is fun because they are incredibly fun. Yeah. So I thought the spider arm abilities were kind of silly. I feel like they were legitimately only put in the game because Miles had the Venom abilities and they wanted to give Peter something to make his combat, comparative.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they were interesting. I used the Spider Whiplash a lot.
I did the spider rush a lot and the barrage. And then I like they actually did add on to this because I mean when the game first started I assumed you had the Miles Venom abilities and the spider arms and that was it. But Miles got evolved Venom abilities, so he unlocked additional abilities that basically replaced the original one so you can actually go into the menu and equip one or two to each button with chain lightning, thunderburst, reverse flux, and galvanize. For the most part I actually really like the evolved venom abilities. I think most of them I like better than the original that it replaces,
Agreed.
which is good. I would say the only original I preferred, I don't even know if preferred because Venom Smash is the only original that I really like and wish I could use, but it was replaced by Reverse Flux, which pulls enemies into you and shocks them and stuff. And that one is also very good. I think that's the circle ability because it's L1 plus, one of the face buttons to activate. That was the L1 circle ability for each set, I think was the best. Um
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was really cool.
Yes. And then, of course, Peter gets the symbiote abilities. I think if you're talking about straight usefulness or strength, maybe you could say, the Venom slash anti Venom abilities were the best. I feel like they did the most damage. They were the strongest, especially using anti Venom abilities on symbiotes. Absolutely borderline OP. You could wipe them out instantly using those anti Venom abilities. Yeah, that's that. I think they're yeah, overall I like the abilities. I think again they just add more to combat and I think it was very fun. They were very fun to use. I also I'll just comment real quick on the supers. The symbiote surge was fine. It basically just meant you had your attacks did more damage, more kind of venom based, symbiote based. You also I don't know if you could take damage because as far as I could tell I wasn't. And yeah. That was good. And then Miles Venom Thing. I called it Venom Thing because I don't know why I could not remember the name of it, and I don't know why looking it up could not find the name. No, I guess nobody knows the name because I read through several different lists of abilities and nobody ever listed what it was called. But that was, it's like a what do you like a large electrical field that defeats enemies and then like knocks
Oh
out
yeah,
enemies close to you. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
The supers I actually did not use a lot. Those I feel like could not exist and it would make no difference. These are the only things I feel like it took a bit too long to charge them up, which I get it would
Oh,
take
JD,
longer because they're like ultimate moves, but yeah,
I was gonna say, is it Venom Strike or Venom Blast?
it might be Venom Blast, but I don't
Because
know for sure.
when I looked it up, it says bioelectric energy threads produced from fingers. Yeah, it's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo, but
Yeah,
it could be Venom
it
Blast.
might be Venom Blast. That
I
sounds
remember using
correct.
it. I
That
remember
sounds
using it.
correct. Yeah. Anyway, Cam, what do you feel about the abilities? Why don't you give us your take?
Um, I thought they were cool. I didn't really use too many abilities. I mean, there was times where I definitely did. Like I used them when I could because why not, right? It makes the game interesting. But I definitely used a lot of the anti venom stuff, and like Venom. I remember I used the Venom Punch a lot and the Venom Smash. Those are fun. Yeah, I liked using those. Those are fun. Anything Venom was really cool. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was my favorite.
Well, which Venom? Miles Venom or Venom Venom?
Venom, dude.
Mm.
I mean, Miles Venom's cool, but Venom, dude, Venom is
I'll be honest. I still think naming Miles' abilities Venom, which it's not just in the game that they call it that. That is just what it's called in the comics. Very
yeah.
weird choice, considering there is a straight up villain in Marvel Comics, a Spider-Man villain in Marvel Comics with the name Venom.
Well, it's okay because they kind of do the same thing that I. Well, now here's something I think stupid. Like,
Uh
if
huh.
you think about it, technically, Miles and Peter are both Spider-Man.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I always think it's stupid because it's like technically, like when they're talking, like they just say Spider-Man. They don't ever say
Yeah.
Miles.
Well, I think. Well,
Which
obviously, I mean,
is good.
you're not gonna when you're fighting villains as superheroes, you're not gonna use the guy's real name.
No, 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 no. I know. I'm not. I know. I'm not saying. I'm not hating on. I'm just saying. Like once again, that's just another situation where it's like, huh, kind of weird. You know.
Yeah, well, I think I don't know for sure, but as far as I can tell, I think this is the first game where they both have been Spider-Man like not first game, the first anything, where like they both have been Spider-Man simultaneously like that.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Typically, yeah, like typically Miles exists alone in his universe. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that.
Well,
Anyway.
through the game, I just thought it was interesting because they never even once said Miles. Like when Miles was talking, they never had like Miles with the little two dots.
Oh,
It's always there.
you mean the subtitles?
Yes, yes.
Oh.
I mean, I'm saying like in general though, it is
Well,
interesting.
they did have a little picture of their mask color. I thought
Yeah,
that was
no, I
clever.
know, and it was so cute, wasn't it? It was a little
Yeah, I
adorable thing.
loved it. I loved it.
Uh,
I did love
uh,
that. Yeah.
but yes, but they did have it was just both Spider Man, and I thought that was interesting. But just in general though, I thought it was interesting how it's like they're both Spider Man. I don't know,
Yeah.
which is weird. How about you talk about the traversal,
Yo,
JD?
dude, let me talk about traversal, bro. Although it seems impossible, Insomniac has managed to somehow make the perfect traversal system of the first two Spider-Man games even more fun. I mean, playing those first two games, I have absolutely zero complaints about the traversal. And somehow it's better in this game. Even just, well, let's talk about during traversal. Both Peter's and Miles' new suits have come equipped with web wings, which, when deployed, allow them to glide across the city, increasing their speed, and they can also increase their speed even further by taking advantage of wind tunnels that are scattered throughout the city. I love the web wings. Using them, using the wind tunnels is very fun. And you are also able to kind of stop it. Like when you're using the web wings, you can stop and go back to swinging flawlessly. No issues whatsoever.
Yes, dude. I am plus. I like both. I mean, the web wings. Like I feel like once again, this game has been all about fast travel.
Yeah.
Like I mean, and not just fast
And
travel.
not fast travel, but fast
Yeah,
travel.
travel. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm. Which by the way, their fast travel is also
We'll talk
really
about that.
amazing. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll get there. But their web wings, I wasn't really expecting. Because it wasn't in the first one, right?
What?
The web wings. It wasn't in the first
No, no,
one.
no. This game introduced them.
Okay, cool. I'm making sure because I don't want to go crazy. But yes, I thought the web wings were really sweet. Especially when I was chasing out like they're not like even side missions. But yeah, no, I'll call them a side mission. But you get like this notification that like these guys are in a car and they're running away and that's like they're robbing or like they're just criminals in a car, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta hawk them down basically. So I always liked it because I would use the wings to follow them. I mean, I just get there so much quicker anyways. It's way better than swinging. And yes, wind tunnels was also really fun
Yeah.
too.
And
You make it fast, and they were all around the city, especially when you were near like the I don't want to say like lake, but like river. I don't know. Yeah, I noticed those though.
yeah, it is a river. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more I have to say about traversal. It's awesome. Even just the normal swinging to me felt better somehow.
I
I
agree.
think they somehow did the impossible. They took a system that I had zero complaints about and somehow improved it. Now,
Oh
Cam,
yeah, hold on. One thing, Jaden.
uh
Just
huh,
this is one also that deals with this gameplay. I'm sorry about that, and I know
uh
we'll
huh,
talk a little. But I will say I have the PlayStation 5, and the
uh huh,
PlayStation 5 this adaptive controller.
uh
I
huh.
will say this game did not bother me with my controller. A lot of games do. This one didn't.
Like you don't like the adaptive controller stuff?
I'm not a huge fan of it in general.
I
No,
get you. Okay,
it's kind of
okay,
stupid to me, but I will say I usually I play with it though because obviously it's like I need to get the full experience, right?
yeah.
So, but because yeah, I played it with Spider Man, and honestly, I had no issues with it. I thought it was decent. It was not that bad for me.
Well, I don't think Spider-Man really doesn't do a lot with it anyway.
No, but I feel like
Um,
I noticed a little bit, just a little bit.
I don't know.
Like to me, I felt like when I was swinging the web, it felt like a little bit of a
It's the tiniest little difference that I
yes.
honestly would not. If I was mentioning to talking to someone about this game, I would never mention it because it's just such a small thing.
I agree, but yes, I don't know. To me, it's been more important because I hate it.
Yep,
I hate that. But go ahead.
gotcha. Cool. Now we move on to suits.
Yes.
The best part of the game. I don't care. Don't at me, right, Cam? That's a thing the kids say. Uh,
Uh, yeah.
um,
Listen, Jay, I hate to
there
break it to you.
are so
You are
Peter.
at,
Yeah, what's up?
yeah. I said you're at that age, man. We
Yeah,
don't do this no more.
yeah.
Don't start saying cap and
Yeah, let me tell
bridge.
you. Let me tell you guys. Nothing makes you feel older than when you send your little brother a picture of your new Funko Pop, and he sends you a reply, and you just have to ask, "What the hell does that mean?" Suits the best part of the game. Peter and Miles have a large amount of suits. There are 62 in total. New to this game as well. Several of the suits have different. I forget what the game calls them, so I'm going to call them shaders because that's basically what it is. So you have 4 different color palettes to choose from. Awesome. Awesome. Again, suits, no complaints in the first game. They made it better. 2 comments I have. One, the shaders are awesome. There are several suits that return from both of the previous Spider-Man games. Because I mean, they can't make all new suits, guys. It doesn't matter. There are so many suits, and the shaders made some of them even better. There are some suits where I didn't necessarily care for the original color scheme, but one of the alternate color schemes, I was like, dude,
Ooh,
that kicks ass. I'm putting that on right now.
I agree.
Um,
Some of them
yeah.
though were definitely a little funky. Like I didn't really like the orange coloring, like the orange
Oh
and
no,
white.
like
When they were too bright, like to me, like
yeah.
that's not Spider Man. But let me
Oh
tell you, man,
no, I love it.
I cannot remember the name of it. But the one where he has the hoodie on, oh my god,
Peter.
easily yes, Peter,
Oh, that was my favorite suit too. The black
my
and red
favorite.
version of that suit
Yes,
was
oh my god,
awesome. Um,
so sexy, sexy,
oh
sexy.
yeah, dude, sexy as hell. Yeah. Also, I'll say I think Miles had way better selection of suits than Peter. Although I think it's not Peter's fault because they had a lot of references. And, Miles has only been in 2 movies, so they can only pull 2 suits from his as reference to those movies, the Spider-Verse movies. Peter had the Tobey Maguire suit, the black Tobey Maguire suit, both of the Andrew Garfield suits, like 3 different suits in reference to the Tom Holland movies, and a suit that was a reference to Spider-Verse. That's like 9 of his suits were just references to movies, which are like cool, but those suits don't have shaders and they don't look as cool typically. Like I will always love the Tobey Maguire suit. It's one of my favorite Spider-Man suits of all time. I just
Oh,
love it.
easily, dude.
Like that web design, how it actually like protrudes out. I think it's awesome.
And
Um,
then also just like I said, just that color scheme of how it's kind of like a darker, but
yeah,
like
like
I
the
don't know how
darker
you want to call
blue.
it, like a darker blue and like this red, but like to me, like
Yeah,
they both look like they have some years in it, like the
yeah, it
color.
yeah, it really looks good. Um, and the black version of that suit also is awesome. But yeah, I mean, so many of his suits are references. And while again, I appreciate like I don't really care for the Amazing Spider-Man suits. I don't think like I didn't think the suits in those movies were great, and I don't care for the Tom Holland suits. There's the Spider-Man Noir suit specifically from Into the Spider-Verse when I prefer the standard traditional Spider-Man Noir suit to the movie suit.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I prefer Miles suits because Miles has more variety, especially with the shaders. Favorite suit in the game, Cam. Miles, when he beats Mysterio, unlocks a Mysterio type suit where his helmet is glass with smoky and like these cool looking eyes. And again, I don't like the base color, but there is a shaded version that is red and the mask is red. It is the coolest Spider-Man suit I think I've ever seen. I absolutely love that suit.
Okay, okay, yes, that was a really sweet suit. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's smoke. It's the smoke and mirrors suit.
Yeah, I think that is what it's called. Yes.
Yeah, it's smoke and mirrors. Yeah, that was really cool. I think I like the colorway on it too, like the green and purple.
Yeah.
Green,
I mean, the original color was good.
yeah.
The original suit was fine. And I mean, really, for most of my playthrough with Miles, especially, I would go for any suit that had green and purple. Which Miles had a lot of suits with green and or purple. Loved it; they were great. But yeah, that suit and it's all like that red is awesome.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, man. Okay, now you have to help. What is the from Into the Spider Verse? This the suit where like you can actually take down the frames.
Oh, that's just Miles' suit, and I'm sure the Spider-Man Noir suit works that way as well.
Yeah, I think it's the Noir one. I like the Noir one, but another one. Now hold on, this one once again it kind of goes with Noir. I don't know something about me. I like old school stuff. I don't know why, but the City Sound suit was really cool.
Was that like
It
the
was
one with the
this,
fedora and stuff?
yes, this was after you finished the cultural museum side
Yeah.
mission, and I don't know. I really like the colorways, especially the red and black one. I don't know.
Um.
I think it was really cool. That I'm kind of goofy in that sense because I know everybody's like, dude, why don't you get like the like I don't know, like this one or that one? Like he has a hoodie in this one. It's
Yeah.
just me.
I'll be honest. That suit actually very much disappointed me. I saw like the silhouette of it, and I thought, oh, dude, Spider-Man in a fedora hat, that's got to be an awesome suit. And when I unlocked it, I was actually disappointed with it because I thought it was a very cool concept, but just the way it looked, I was like, oh man, that is really just not resonating with me.
Oh, dude, and they had like a Wolverine like Spider-Man suit. I forgot
Oh, they
about that.
did, yeah, yeah. They also had
Yeah,
like a Black Panther suit.
anyway,
Anyway,
guys, I did. You know, I say we get mods, and instead of having a mascot
uh,
tourney, we just have a football Spider-Man suit tourney.
oh, like on a college, like on a
Yeah,
college game. Okay, um,
yeah,
yeah, I'll get right on that.
I appreciate that.
Anyway, tokens. These are simplified from the first two games. The tokens, or they're also called just parts in this game. They do return. This game really shuts it down to four. It shuts it down, simplifies it down to four. Because in the first game, I mean, there's like 10. There's a ton. There's parts, rare parts, hero, and city. Tokens are unlocked by completing missions, side missions, and side activities. In the first game, you had a limited number of tokens pretty much that you could earn, and that limited number went to upgrading and crafting suits and things. In this game, the amount of parts is unlimited because you earn them, basically doing anything. And the others are limited, but you will get way, like if you 100% the game, you will get way more than you need to upgrade everything, which is good. I don't want to have to. Like, I had every upgrade before completing every activity, which is fun because in some games, it's like you have to do every activity to unlock everything. And at that point, it's like, well, I already 100% of the game. Like, cool, I have this last ability now, but what am I going to use it for? The game's done.
Right, right.
Yeah, this game avoids that, and I do like that. And also, very rarely did I find myself not having enough parts for stuff I wanted, basically meaning suits. And if you didn't, for the most part, it's pretty easy and quick to get the stuff you need. So it's not
Yeah.
super annoying.
And I
Um,
will say, as someone who like, I don't really ever do like 100% on games or try
uh,
to do that. But I will say like they do kind of not. I'm not gonna say force, but they do seem to kind of make you want to do the side missions and do things on your way to wherever you gotta go. I don't know. I just think it's really neat. Like they kind of
yeah,
they
yeah.
kind of push you a little bit to be like, hey,
Hmm.
like get these done.
There's also That's it. Those are the tokens. There's nothing more to say. Then the suit tech. So these are upgrades to the Spider-Man's attributes. There are four categories: health, power, focus, and traversal. I mean, these are basically skills. And like in some games, these would just be part of the skill tree. Oh, this skill just increases your health. Oh, this skill increases your attack power. Oh, this skill adds another focus bar, whatever. They are fine. Having them in a separate category, I did actually enjoy because they didn't use skill points. I didn't like that they shared the resources necessary at the same resources as suits and gadgets, because gadgets also have upgrades. We did not mention that earlier, where like parts and like the different tokens. But I do like that it's separate from the skill tree. And I mean, these were fine. I actually did find several of these upgrades to be useful. They had kind of an upgrade tree where every, I think, 3 upgrades, you had a option of one of two abilities that unlocking it would unlock both abilities, but you could only have one equipped at a time. I actually really liked that because a lot of those abilities were actually I found very useful.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, Cam, why don't you talk about random crimes?
Some crimes that pop up as you're patrolling the city as one of the Spider-Man. Completing these activities gives you experience in tech parts. Unlike the first two games, they are completely optional mechanic. They are a completely optional mechanic. Yeah, I like these. I told Jaden this too. The way when I'm going on to my next mission or wherever the hell I gotta go, I run into these little things, and my ADHD brain is like, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go. You know what I'm saying? It keeps me busy
Mhm.
while I'm on the way, and that's one thing that I love is that about Spider-Man is like they were Spider-Man 2 is that they were really good at doing that. Where if it wasn't for me trying to go stop some random crime or let's say when the symbiotes were a thing, I'd have to go to these separate symbiotes and I'd kill them real quick before going wherever I needed to go. You also had you just had a lot of other missions. You could do like Sandman's thing. I don't know. I just think it was really cool, just because there was a lot to do while you were going where you need to go. It makes time quicker, and it also makes you just not as bored.
Um, yeah, so my biggest complaint about the first game was the random crimes because there were 20 per district. They appeared randomly, so you had to just swing around until they spawn. And you had to do all of them 100% the game. I hated it. They improved upon that in Miles Morales, where you can just get them to spawn by using the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man app. But they were still required. I think like you got tokens for upgrades and stuff, so you still kind of had to do them. In this game, they were completely optional, and I love that. It's the best way this could be done. All they do is get you experience and tech parts. And that's it. I mean, there's no trophy for doing a certain amount. There's nothing in game for doing a certain amount. It's straight up just extra experience and tech parts. So I like that. And I mean, on the contrary, if you're talking about a negative to them being completely optional like that, I almost did none. Like, I very, very rarely actually did these. Typically, I only did when, as I mentioned before, I didn't have enough tech parts to maybe get a suit. And I'm like, I'm 40 tech parts short. Okay, a random crime popped up. I'll go do that real quick because it is less time than a mission or, something else like a mission or a side mission activity, whatever. It would take less time.
I get.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm glad that they're optional, but also them being completely optional like that made me realize a bit why in the other games they weren't, because I basically didn't do them. Now, where I shoved this in because I completely forgot about it until Cam mentioned it earlier, so I added it to the document while he was talking. Mary Jane missions. You play as Mary Jane. These are sort of returning from the first game. In the first game, you played as Mary Jane and Miles pre-powers in these kind of stealth mission things. You would have to go around, distract people, whatever, not get seen because you're going to die. These sort of return. I'm going to talk about what I like about it and what I don't like about it
All right, let's
first.
see what you got to say. Let's go.
Okay, so the thing I like, there's a lot more action to them than the previous games, like more open kind of, the areas you're in, and it's not just basically get from point A to point B. So I didn't feel as bored playing them. Also, there's only two, maybe three, give or take. I think three, hypothetically, and even one of those you're just running away. No, sorry, there's three. There's three, and then there's another one where you're just running away. So I don't think that really counts. I mean, the whole thing takes less than a minute. So hypothetically, there's only three, which is less than the first game and certainly less draggy feeling. Um,
That's true.
and that's what I liked about it. What I didn't like about it, I feel like it makes no sense. Well, two things. One, it's a Spider-Man game. I want to play a Spider-Man. I'm sorry, people. I know even one of the developers defended it as like, hey, nah, like it's not just about Spider-Man. It's a Spider-Man game. I want to play Spider-Man. I'm sorry. I hate me if you want. Call me whatever you want. Uh,
Yeah. Or like even if, how about you give me somebody with some superpowers? You know,
yeah,
like,
like I want.
but no one plays a game to be like, huh, let me just be a regular person in
Yeah,
society today.
yeah,
I don't have any cool things. I can't jump super high. Let me just walk around and collect things, and let me just try to shoot some people. With my taser, with my taser. I mean,
yeah,
like I don't know. Go ahead, Jade.
yeah,
Sorry. Go
yeah. It's
ahead.
like nobody. It's a superhero game. You want to play as superheroes. I think that describes it better than I did, Cam. And second, makes no sense in terms of MJ is just a chick, and she is in a hunter base with dozens of, I assume if they're working for Craven, highly trained mercenaries, specifically as they're called hunters. So I assume they're decent at hunting. And somehow they're getting snuck up on, tased, and just embarrassed by just a chick. And look, I'm all for go women, whatever. It is unnecessary. And it just makes no sense that how is it that Mary Jane can stealth past these people easier than I can when I'm playing as like than Spider-Man? Because stealthing is Spider-Man, not easy. I got spotted a lot.
Right.
Um,
Especially when you're at that camp, there are so many waypoints where I remember there's this point where you have to like get up on top of this. You can get on top of this bridge like area, something like that at the hunter facility, right?
yeah,
And I'm pretty sure like I like reasonably I would have been spotted at least three
yeah.
times.
I feel like these are supposed to be highly trained mercenaries. They hypothetically should be on alert. I mean, just the hunters are being embarrassed here is making them seem like stupid. And she does very early on have a throwaway line where I know they did it to try to justify all of this, where she says, "Oh, thank God I got that training from Sable, Silver Sable from the first game," which, not going into the scope of the training, I assume being trained by Silver Sable means training how to fight. I highly doubt her training with Sable included stealth training and whatever. So it's just unbelievable to me that she can do all this. And yeah, that's just another reason I don't like it. Like I get, yeah, it's a superhero game. I guess punishing it for not being realistic enough is maybe a little silly, but I don't know. It certainly makes the Spider-Man look a little less heroic when just MJ can take down all these hunters and stuff super
Yeah.
easily.
Meanwhile, those same people sometimes almost like will lose to just because I'm
Yeah,
fighting them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
They
mean,
kick Spider-Man's ass.
yeah, I agree that I agree with that. And then I don't know. I'm also just tired of the missions. I think they're pointless. I mean,
Yeah,
like I feel like I could do the same exact thing just with Spider-Man.
cool. We're gonna move on now to Marco's memory. So you find sand crystals throughout the city that contain broken pieces of Sandman's mind. You defeat a group of sand enemies and break the crystal to learn more of Sandman's past and put his mind back together. These are fun. They basically just allow you to fight more sand enemies throughout the game.
My only complaint with these is I never understood what the point of turning the crystal. I never got that. I never understood.
Uh,
I thought maybe there
I,
was something with it.
yeah, I don't know. That is kind of pointless. Although it's a very small thing. I mean, these are fun. I like fighting the sand enemies. It's just small little combat encounters. I enjoyed these. I thought the kind of story of Sandman being hunted by the hunters and his issues with his daughter, I thought that was very cool. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
No, I think they were neat. I did like the story of it. It was kind of cool. It gives me something to do. Like it gives me something to work for, so I could fight those guys.
Yeah. Cam, tell us about photo ops.
You take pictures of the goings on of New York City.
Yep, that's it.
Um, which I thought was really neat. You basically just go through these areas. For example, maybe it's in Chinatown.
Uh huh.
Um, and maybe they just want you to take. He just wants you to take a picture of the alleyway itself or the streetway
Yeah,
itself.
typically it's of like people doing something
Yeah,
in New
yeah,
York, showing how
yeah,
like lively the city is and whatever.
yeah. I
Um,
so we saw like two. You can see like two fake Spider-Man, which I think were like
yeah.
I can't remember for sure, but I feel like they were slouches, like not like
Uh huh.
really. And
Yeah.
we take photos of that, and then like this guy comes on and he talks about the photo and he talks
Yeah.
about like the significance of the
Yeah.
area.
It's basically like the it's basically like the landmark pictures from the first game, but there's a lot less and whatever.
There
Yeah,
you go.
my one comment really about the photo ops is I don't know why you can do them as Miles, because photography was always Peter's thing. He was a photographer for the Daily Bugle. That was a thing. That's kind of why it was in the first game was, you took a picture of something and Peter thought to himself, "Oh man, I really like taking pictures. That's kind of, a hobby I had that fell away. I want to do that again." And then he did this just as kind of a way to earn a bit of extra money because he got fired from his teaching job. And then it's just weird that Miles is also taking pictures and then also submitting them for Peter in this, I don't know what it is, contest or something, because one, that's cheating. Two, the guy, I think his name is Robbie, who Peter initially talks to about it. Whenever you take a picture, he comments on something about the city of New York. But when he's talking to Miles, when you take the pictures as Miles, I'm just thinking, did he call Miles? Does he have Miles' phone number? Or it very much seems like he's absolutely talking just to Peter, but you're taking the pictures as Miles. It makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree. I never even thought about that, but like, yeah, now that I think about it, I've always
Yeah.
took the photos with Miles. I don't know why. I just never thought that I wasn't.
Yeah. Like when you take the last picture, he calls after the last one and says, "Hey, Peter, you always, I think, downplayed your skills. Like, you're really a great photographer." And I just was listening to that thinking, I mean, if I was playing as Miles, would he say the same thing, or would he wait till I switch to Peter to call? Like, what is going on here? Yeah, it's
Right.
it's really weird. Anyway, yeah, that's
I
photo
agree with
ops.
you. Yeah, no.
Yeah, Cam, why don't you talk about the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man requests?
So short little side missions that you see helping short little side missions that you see helping the people of New York. And one of these you play as Haley.
And that's
Um
it. Yeah, I
they're
just
just
wanted to mention
yeah,
that.
I mean that's really it. But they're just little missions that you see. I remember specifically this one mission where I helped this old guy in this park find his wife. Or I thought, well, technically, it's I helped the wife find her
No,
husband.
no, she was looking for her granddad.
Oh, was it her
Or
granddad? I thought it was her
it might have just been her dad, but it was like her elderly person has gone missing.
Yes, yeah,
And
that's
he
really
was
what the
like,
basic of is. Yeah, and
yeah,
he wandered off, and then you get to this little cutesy moment where he's there on the bench, and they have this talk, and
yeah,
he talks like Spider-Man.
yeah,
Spider-Man. Yes, I used to think about the days, of Big
yeah.
Daddy.
Um,
Anyways, yeah. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I did like these. They were short. Also, some of them were weird because your whole thing is you're helping people. But like one of the missions, you don't do anything because as Spider-Man, you're playing as Haley, which side note, I did love playing as Haley. I thought it was fun because, she is deaf and kind of the way that she sees the world was, I thought it is kind of how it shows with like little cartoons that appear when like she sees something or people are talking. I thought it was very cute and not nearly as long as playing as other people that aren't Spider-Man. So it wasn't super annoying. You also in one, like a woman wants help taking a picture, but you like the entire mission you're playing as Peter going to the Daily Bugle with his first ever picture of Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you don't really, and then at the end, I guess she takes a picture of Spider-Man, but you don't really help her too much. It's kind of weird. But these were fun. These were cute. The Howard one is sad. Miss you, Howard.
Oh yeah, that one was terrible.
Um,
And I will say, I also like the graffiti. The graffiti was cool too.
oh yeah, you actually got to spray paint
Yeah,
as Haley. That was
especially
fun.
yeah, especially because like you hear the noise and it's all like, and you hear it, and everything just sounds like muffled in a way.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but it's very relaxing. I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah, the spray painting was fun. I actually forgot about that. It harkens back to one of the classic PlayStation 4 games that also has spray painting, Infamous Second Son. Personally, I think the spray painting in Infamous Second Son is more fun, but also it's fine. So yeah, these were fun. I thought they were cool. There were only 6 of them. It felt to me like there were less side missions than in say the first game, but that could just be they kind of did, I guess, split all the side missions into a bunch of different categories.
Oh yeah, there's also the one where you were the bike, which that one was really janky for me. I don't know if it was for you.
Oh, I think that was one of the experiments. Do you mean like that one?
Oh yeah, yeah. You like go around the bike around the park. My
Yeah,
bad.
we'll talk
So
about that later.
okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
Cam's spoiling the podcast.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. You guys know me. I just get a little excited.
so the flame, a series of Peter exclusive side missions where he helps Wraith, also known as former police captain Yuri Watanabe, take on a fire obsessed cult. This was fun. Yuri being back was cool. Anytime you fight with a second person, we didn't comment on that earlier in combat, but you do that. You have duo takedowns and stuff. I thought it was cool. I think they implemented having two people fight together very well. It was fun.
But I will say this though, the whole like I'm gonna call it the campaign,
Uh huh.
but the Flame campaign was really good. I loved it. I love that whole storyline, and I think they'll use it for the next Spider-Man game.
I mean, of course they will. Carnage is in it.
Yes, yes, dude, I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Big tease at the end because it does end with a cliffhanger teasing Carnage, very famous comic book character. We'll see how
Yes.
that goes, I guess, in the future. Cam, talk about Prowler stashes.
Miles exclusive activities where he unlocks former bases of the Prowler for technology. There's a lot of these. They're not really in specific areas, or like they're not. How do I say that? They're not all in one spot. They're kind of just around the map, but you can find them on certain buildings. They're little neat things. The Prowler talks through a little mic to him about where he has to go and all that. Also, it's very interesting. He talks to them after he's been released from prison. I don't know, just kind of neat.
Yeah, I like these. The what's it called? One again, just liking Miles' story. I love Aaron Davis and how he's portrayed in this game. And also, it was just a nice, cute little like ending. Once you collect them all, and then you find out that he's moving into the apartment upstairs. Very, very fun. I liked it. Then you got Brooklyn Visions. These are Miles exclusive side missions where he helps out fellow students at Brooklyn Visions Academy. I'll be honest, did not super care for these missions, specifically. These were probably the only like side missions that I overall, I guess you could say they were just meh. I just
Oh,
they were fine, but I didn't have any like
yeah, I didn't
they
have
weren't great.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't have any care for him either.
Yeah.
You have the EMF experiments, Peter exclusive activities where he uses science to help further humanity. We guess. But like I said, I was talking about the one where he was on the bike going around the park.
Uh-huh.
Which by the way was very janky. I don't know if it was for you.
I
But
don't think it was. I didn't have problems with it in terms of jankiness. I did think it was too long.
oh yeah, no, my bike wouldn't go. It actually like stopped for a very hot minute. I was trying to figure out what the hell to do because I was under a time limit, right?
Yeah.
I made it, but it was very janky overall. Like the bike went, I was going forward and I looked sideways. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, I feel like these were a spiritual successor to the science labs. I forget exactly what they were called from the first game, like the original Spider-Man game that you did for Harry, which and I honestly preferred the ones in the first game because the ones in the first game were typically kind of traversal challenges, and I liked the traversal challenges. This game does not really have that many traversal challenges, and I think those are fun. A game that has a great traversal system like this, I want to have like races or challenges or something that just show off, kind of showcase how good it is and allow you to do it. And these were not that. A lot more simple. A lot of that, some science-based mini games, which I actually do like the science-based mini games. I didn't put those in the document. We'll talk about those now. You have the one where you have to put different uh pieces together like a puzzle, but they can only, they have to have the same number of lines. That's all scientific. And then you have like a giant what's that thing? Like a oh god, what's that word called?
I know what you're talking about too. I just don't know what you call it.
It's like when two atoms are together, it's like water
Uh,
is a molecule
yeah,
maybe?
molecule. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A giant like molecule of some compound, and you have to get rid of these bad atoms, I guess, for lack of a better term. They kind of what they look like.
Yeah. Well,
And
you gotta get rid of the red stuff.
yeah, get rid of the
It's
red stuff. Can't destroy the green stuff. Science, guys, we do it. Um,
yeah.
those. I did like those little puzzles, but I do overall think I preferred the science missions, the traversal challenges from the first game. But these weren't bad, and they were typically, except for that one bike one, typically pretty short.
Yeah, yeah, that's one thing I will say too about all these is they none of these like most of them weren't really that timely. That's what I like.
Yeah.
When they're not like super long and I'm taking forever just trying to get it done so I can go back to doing what I was supposed to do. I love that. Those are good. Those are fun. That means I just have just enough time where I'm able to do this little cute quick thing and then I can go on to the next.
Yeah, I will say most of the side activities in this game will take you less than 10 minutes, and I would say all of them will take you like less than 20 minutes. They're not very long.
Oh yeah, I mean very few, and if
Yeah.
anything, maybe just some of the more challenging ones could maybe
Yeah.
take you that. But usually they're pretty simple to figure out.
Yeah. Cam, why don't you tell us about the hunter blinds and bases?
So for the hunter blinds, small enemy bases, they're small enemy bases where you defeat enemies and learn information about the larger hunter bases. And then the hunter bases are large enemy bases where you have to clear out several enemies and potentially do some side activities for additional XP. Now, the hunter blinds. Now, were the hunter blinds the ones where like you couldn't see them right away?
Yeah, they were cloaked. You had to like
Yeah, they
swing
were.
up and down.
Yeah, they're like invincible on
Invisible.
and invisible. Yeah, thank you. I said invincible.
You did.
Anyway, so they're like on top of the building. You go in. You don't really see them, but like your character kind of gets stopped by them, and then it's like bam, now you see them. You go in there. You can either do it stealth or not. Usually those I didn't really do stealth. I didn't care about stealth in those.
Well, the blinds you can't really do stealthy. It's typically just a single rooftop. There's maybe five, six, seven enemies, and then there's always reinforcements that come help, whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you all at the end of the day, I usually at those two, Jaden, what are those called? They were like the electronic birds. You always had to go after one after every single blind.
Yeah. No, no, you didn't. That was a different thing.
Was that a different thing? I swear
Different
you
thing.
go after those. Okay,
No,
okay,
you
well
do, but that's a different thing.
okay, I got you. And then the hunter bases, those are where I was more stealthy. And you run into a lot more of those. I'd say mainly in the missions.
Yeah, I do like the hunter bases. Yeah, there's only no, I think there's four. There's four. They're a lot bigger. A lot. I mean, I think they're bigger than any bases in the previous Spider-Man games. One thing I like about the hunter bases compared to the bases in the first two Spider-Man games, in the first two, you cleared out waves of enemies. Took a long time. At least it felt like a long time. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. It was more of a combat scenario. In these, you can do them completely 100% stealthy and never be seen, or you can just run in and punch everybody. I like that in Spider-Man 2, stealth is a lot bigger of a thing than in the first two.
Agreed.
And this showcases it. Also, a new gadget you get. Because we're going to talk about stealth because we didn't talk about that. I didn't put that on the document. I mean, Spider-Man gets a new gadget called like the web line that basically allows him to make a tightrope that he can walk on between almost any 2 points. It's very long reaching.
Oh, dude, it's
As
sweet.
long
I mean,
as yeah, as long as
go
there's something behind you and in front of you, you can use it.
Yes, and it is sick. I mean, you can go from point A to point B like that. And the
Yep.
coolest thing is, as you make the web, you don't even have to like go back to the main web, let's say, to go to another one. You can just jump to each web.
Yeah, and you can stealth takedown, perch takedown enemies on web lines, literally anywhere. Make stealth a lot easier and a lot more fun, in my opinion. I think they were very, very good. So those are the
Stealthing.
hunter bases. Now, what's up?
I said for stealth. Do you want to talk about stealth?
Well, that was it. That was it. I think that was it.
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. Yours
It's
is sweet.
still yeah, it's still not a huge focus of the game. It doesn't like in story, you don't really have a lot of opportunities to stealth. I would say the hunter bases are your biggest chances where you actually have the space and the kind of enemy placement to actually stealth quite easily. Yeah, in like story missions and side missions where you can stealth, I typically I would get a few enemies, but I found it a lot harder than in these optional bases.
I agree. I agree. Now, oh, actually, you go ahead, Jaden. You say it.
Yeah, now we're going to talk about the Mysteriums. These are Spider-Man 2's versions of challenges. Only Miles can complete them. So Quentin Beck, formerly known as Mysterio, is reformed. He creates these as the next generation, the future of entertainment with these very realistic illusions. In the story, Miles tries one of the first ones, gets trapped in it, and has to, fight his way out. Then Quentin Beck says that there's tons around There's several of these around. You go around, you complete challenges such as defeating, 20 enemies in X amount of time to get, gold, silver, bronze. Obviously, the faster you do it, the better. And other different combat challenges, there's don't get hit combat challenges, knock people off ledges, defeat specifically brute enemies. Yeah, they're challenges. You beat them and you rescue people and you slowly uncover what is going wrong with all of these Mysteriums.
Yes, and
And it culminates
love
in the Mysterio boss fight.
yes, I love that boss fight.
Yeah, these are much easier than the challenges of the first two Spider-Man games. One thing I always talked about was how insanely difficult getting the highest rank on challenges in the first two Spider-Man games is. It is insane. I don't know how people can do it. In this one, I was actually able to get the highest level on most of them. There are some that are still incredibly difficult, but I was able to get gold on, I think, I think there's 10 and I think I got gold on at least 7.
Yeah, I
Um
agree. There was definitely one of them though where man, I could not do it, but just because of the time limit.
yeah,
It,
there are two challenges that I was like that are time based that I thought I don't know how it's possible to do this in the gold time. I do not understand.
yeah,
Yeah. But they were fun. I liked them. They were very cool.
yeah, and like the experience they bring, they're just really neat. Especially that boss fight. I don't know. They just you kind of use the things around you. It's really
Yep.
cool.
Yep. Cam, talk about unidentified targets.
You can use your web wings to follow a hunter drone and gather data on one of Craven's potential targets, which you kind of have to follow this like yeah, I guess it's like a drone through the city, and usually you use like wind tunnels to keep
Well,
up with
you're
it.
basically it. The drone itself creates, it's
Yeah,
drafting creates a wind tunnel that you follow the drone. When you're in that tunnel, you go faster and you collect data.
I don't know if it's just me. I was just saying, I'm pretty sure though, like you just follow it until it slows down for you.
No, it
I'm
doesn't
I
slow down.
It doesn't really. Okay,
No.
for me, I always thought like because I feel like no matter what, like you get to the same thing where it's like you have to follow it for a little bit until you get it. Because there were times where I definitely got out of the draft. That sucks.
Oh yeah.
That was the worst. Or you get caught on a building. That sucks.
Yep.
That
See,
sucks.
this is my one complaint I guess I do have about the web wings is controlling them at high speeds like you're going when you're in these following these guys and they're moving quite fluidly. They're
Yeah.
very maneuverable is difficult. Like it's very slow turning. I maybe I was doing it wrong. I don't know, but yeah, it's the only time that I did not like the web wings kind of was doing these
Oh, and let me
because
say another thing that.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then the other thing, I feel like it's too long. I feel like it takes too long to get the data. Like these feel like maybe like one of the longer side activities in the game. It just takes a while. You have to follow it for minutes and minutes. It feels like.
Yeah, I agree on that. And then I also agree too that, or not I agree, but I also think that one thing about the web wings that kind of sucked is let's say I was chasing after somebody,
Uh huh.
I couldn't always just initiate them right away. It would say that I was like too low. I think in the game it would be like I'm too low to use them.
Oh, I
But
never had that problem.
oh really? There was times where like I would try to bring them out and I couldn't. Like it just wouldn't allow me to. So I had to keep swinging and webbing around before I could bring them out. And I felt like I was like middle in the height. So I don't know. Just something I noticed.
Yeah.
How about you
Uh,
talk about the symbiote?
yeah. I'll take the next two. Symbiote nests. Challenges: we must defend a point or two from symbiote enemies until the time runs out. Basically, these nests, they're just giant towers of symbiote. They have a heart, basically, that's in the center. Sometimes there's two. And one of them, only one, it actually moved around. But you place basically a sonic bomb on it because, the symbiotes are weak to sonic attacks. And then you have a timer. Once the timer runs, and you have to basically just defend it from endless symbiote enemies until the timer runs out, in which case the symbiote nest is done. I liked these. The time challenge, that's new to Spider-Man. Basically like a tower defense kind of thing. You just have to defend it from enemies for a time. That's new to Spider-Man. I actually really enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun with those. Yeah, I enjoyed them. I liked them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought the symbiote nest they were kind of I don't know. They weren't my okay. Like out of all like the ones where like you had the hunters, you had the sand people, um, all those types. The symbiote nests were kind of annoying in my opinion.
Oh, I never found them to be too bad. Maybe I'm just better.
Yeah,
Huh.
I All right, but the
Yeah.
collectibles are cool. I like the collectibles.
Yeah, so spider bots, there's 42. They're little spider bots that they're like painted, modeled after different versions of Spider-Man and even some villains. Yeah, so these are a semi-annoying collectible. Why are they semi-annoying? Well, they have like radar pulses almost that show you where they are in each district. They're pretty useful, I would say, in finding them. You know, it's not like there's just a spider bot climbing on a surface you have to randomly find. The pulses make it a lot easier to find them. But when you reveal the map, which we will talk about in a bit, when you reveal the map, it does not reveal the location of spider bots, and I don't like that. I think collectibles should be revealed when you reveal maps. But also, you with your suit tech upgrades we were talking about earlier, one of the traversal ones allows you to see chests of tech parts on the map, like there are random chests of tech parts all around the city.
Oh yeah,
You remember
yeah,
those? Yes. Well,
yeah.
what it doesn't tell you, that upgrade also shows spider bots on your mini map. So yeah, they will just appear on your mini map, which makes it even easier to find them. I actually did not have to use a guide to find any of these with that mini map upgrade, which is, I guess, a decent sign. But also, just show them on the map. Like, why would you reveal the map and not reveal everything on the map? I think that's annoying.
Yeah, that's just that. Now I agree. That is, it's small and it's not that big of a deal, but it is stupid.
Yeah. And then also, once you collect them all, you unlock a little cutscene with a reference that does not make sense anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Why, Cam? Why does it not make sense?
Well, because
Because I looked it up. Did you look it up?
no, no, but
Did you
like,
see the cutscene
which one?
of like the girl in the bar that's talking to whatever Spider-Man you are? Well,
Never do that.
well, did you collect them all when you played the game? Remember you go to like just a random spot in the city, and then like a portal opens up.
Oh, oh, oh my God. Yeah. Okay. 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 Okay.
Well, you
Okay.
see, that actually matters more. So that's actually the bar with no name, and I forget the woman's name, but she's a yeah, she's a Marvel character. But that character and that place was originally supposed to appear in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So it was tying this game to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the. It was like the bar for supervillains.
That bar and the character who was working as the bartender, that is a reference to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse because that character and that bar appears in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Except, no, it doesn't, because that scene was cut out of the movie. So the reference makes it it's not referencing anything anymore because that scene was cut out. So kind of
Wait,
funny.
wait, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that character, I forget her name, in that place, location, was supposed to appear in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse because she even mentions Miguel, the name Miguel, which is Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099.
Oh,
She was supposed to appear in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which would then tie this movie into the Spider-Verse universe. That was the whole portal thing. It's the Spider-Verse. But
so
then
now,
but then that character in her scene was cut out of the movie, so now it just references nothing.
yikes.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on, we've got oh, so yeah, that's it for the game stuff. Yeah, that's all the game stuff. A lot of stuff in this game. It is full, packed
Yeah,
full.
I love it.
Now we're going to talk about my favorite thing, notable trophies. There are three here we're going to talk about because they're all kind of the same thing, which is going to lead to a lecture. There is Evolved, defeat 100 enemies with evolved Venom abilities. Armed and Dangerous, defeat 100 enemies with Spider Arm abilities. And Surge, use symbiote abilities 25 times during symbiote surge. All these suck. Let me explain why. 100 enemies with Venom and Spider with evolved Venom Spider Arm abilities. That's too many. 100 is too many. It's annoying. It's something that I constantly had to be on the lookout for. And it's even like any trophy that has stuff like this, 20, make it 25 max. I feel like 50, you're pushing it. Anything above that is insane. It's a ridiculous number. Granted, you fight well over 1,000 enemies probably in the course of this game. But if you're not aware that these trophies exist and you're not trying to do it, you're probably not going to get you're probably not going to get these naturally because it's such a big number. I think any defeat enemies using abilities trophies should be small enough that you'll get it naturally without having to specifically try. Because, and this is the key thing here, I think depending on how useful and often the ability can be used and how useful it is, should affect the number. Venom abilities and the Spider Arm abilities do not kill enemies instantly. So it's not like every time you use one of these abilities, you're guaranteed to take down an enemy. Yeah, so you actually have to like weaken enemies first using regular attacks, whatever, but make sure you don't kill them. So then the ability you use defeats them. Some weaker enemies will be one shot by these, but for the most part, yeah, you have to like actually kind of strategically play so your abilities actually kill people and not just hit them because that doesn't count.
Yeah, and really, if you were to look at those and then play the story, or not then play the story, but like while playing the story, then try to do those, I feel like it ruins your experience because it's like at the end of the day, you're trying to kill those enemies so you're on to
Yeah,
the next thing, you know.
yeah,
So then by you having to do that, it slows down the story, it slows down the
yeah,
process. It's just a pain in the
yeah.
butt.
And then also, yeah, and also say like the spider arm abilities, decently, maybe 30% in the game you get the venom abilities for Peter. Why would you ever use spider arm abilities again? Like, yes, you lose the venom symbiote for a couple missions, so you can only use the spider arm abilities again. But without knowing this trophy exists, why would you use them? And you never would, so you would not build this up. And then you're stuck in the worst thing ever. Oh crap, I beat the game and did all the side activities, didn't get these trophies. Now I just have to keep swinging around and doing random crimes
Yeah, I
and
now
get it
that was
that way.
it was grueling.
Like I didn't have to do that because I specifically planned it, but it's annoying. And then the symbiote one, 25 times is too much because you can hypothetically only use 4 symbiote abilities every time you activate symbiote surge because they have to charge.
Yeah,
And then you have to charge symbiote surge again. And this one is worse because they wanted to keep the fact that you play as Venom hidden for some reason, even though it's in all the trailers. This trophy is a hidden trophy, so you, without revealing it and stuff, especially don't know that that's something you have to do. I like these trophies again in small numbers because it encourages you to use these abilities that you might not if you're kind of like me and someone who typically just muscles your way through. There are some people who maybe don't use those abilities for one reason or another, or you don't use them a lot because maybe you just don't think about it. That's a problem I have in a lot of games, is not using extra abilities because I just forget that they're there. So I like trophies that exist like this because they do encourage you to do different things, but too much. Lower the numbers.
I agree. No, I agree for sure because it is a pain in the butt, especially for someone like me who I decided that I wanted to 100% it middle way through the game.
Yeah, like that. I
So
mean, that'll ruin it for you almost. Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we're moving on to our questions now. Favorite moments. Talk. I'll go first. One, Miles and Haley. I love Haley as a character. As I said, like Miles and his supporting cast better than Peter's. Anytime these two interacted, I thought it was very cute and fun. That's cool. That's all I have to say on that.
I'll say mine. Well, you also have the second one there,
Well, here
Jaden.
I want to say this one since it's shared and you have more than I do.
Yeah,
Um, Reformed villains. Spider-Man 2 did something I have never seen any superhero game or series ever, ever, ever do, which is actually show his villains getting better and not being criminals anymore. They did it with Tombstone. Now he's just a dude just trying to live his life.
yeah,
Ex-con. He got out, he did his time, and he's just trying to live his life, and that's awesome. And they also did it with Mysterio, where spoiler alert, it's not actually Quentin Beck behind everything, and he actually is just trying to be a dude and use his technology for you know just non-evil purposes.
yeah.
And this whole
Cool.
time, Miles is thinking that maybe it seems like the game is building up like, oh no, he's evil again. And then it's like, no, he's not. It was actually these other people. He's cool. And I love that. I love saying like, hey, these guys used to be villains, but now they're people. They made mistakes. They're trying to just move past it and live their lives. And I love that this game does that.
And then you have the lizard, who's the doctor that helps
Yeah.
Harold.
Yeah. He's not. Yeah.
And
Harry.
Lee, dude, Lee helps. Like Lee is actually a really big part of the
Yeah.
game.
I mean, he also like he regrets his past actions. He realizes he was wrong, and he's just trying to move past it and make up for his sins.
Yeah,
Atone for his sins,
it,
basically.
yeah, it's
Um,
really neat.
yeah. So I love that this game does that. I've never seen it before in like a game or even any kind of movie I've watched. I absolutely love it. Cam, you go ahead with yours.
So some other favorite moments that I had was when Peter and Harold were going through the school.
Cam, his name is
I don't.
Harry.
Okay, but
Harry Osborn.
it's actually isn't it not actually Harold Osborn?
Um, I've never in any Spider-Man thing I've ever seen in my entire life, never once heard him called Harold.
Okay, okay. I don't know, but yeah, okay. Anyways, Peter and Harry go through the school. I really like that moment. I just think it was really cool because it was kind of like a flashback. They go from flashback to then, you're in the school and you're trying to sneak around things. I don't know. I just thought it was really neat, and it was just kind of interesting. Like I guess I wouldn't expect them to go back to the school. It was just kind of cool.
Cam,
Um, yeah.
I hate to disappoint you. I hated that. I hated that mission. I did not like it. I thought it was
Oh,
dumb.
I liked it. It was sweet,
I
man. It
did
was
not
sweet.
like it. Anyway, go on with your next thing.
Yeah. And then the other one, which Jaden, if you don't like this, mind my language, but get the out. Get the out now.
I
Uh,
liked it. I liked this. I like this. This is
okay.
good.
Yeah, running through Oscorp with Venom and just beating the shit out of everyone was my favorite. I mean, you're destroying things, you're breaking through everything, you're big, you're giant, you're everybody up. I mean, people are trying to shoot at you, and you're just able to just, I mean, you pick someone up and you just like slam them against the con, like they're just dead. They're just
Yeah.
instantly
I mean,
dead.
no, he straight up bites people. He breaks people's spines. You kill
Yeah,
Craven.
yeah. Oh, dude, mind you, I don't want to spoil alert. Big spoiler alert here. Uh, I just would like to say, dude, I was not expecting him to actually bite his head off.
Oh, yeah, it was
And
cool.
like that was really gory, especially for like
Yeah.
a Spider-Man game. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, getting to play as Venom for that one mission was actually very, very fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, I love that. That whole mission. That whole mission right there was just sweet.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jaden. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, are you good to move on?
Yes. I was gonna ask
Cool.
you, but you said
Yep. We'll move on to favorite boss battle. For me, I mean, I'll just start off by saying every boss battle in this game I really enjoyed. Probably my
yeah,
least favorite, ironically, was the Craven boss fight as Peter. But
yeah,
every boss fight in this game was very good. I picked the final boss fight with Venom because, oh man, it was just I thought it was a great boss fight. The culmination of everything. It's in multiple parts. Fighting him as Peter and Miles. It's like so high stakes. Everything's going on. It was a very, very good boss fight.
yeah. Yeah. Miles versus Peter was a really fun one for me. I like that one a lot. It was just really
Uh-huh.
neat to see. They played it off good. The
Uh-huh.
other one I already said earlier, I mentioned it, but Mysterio.
It was a
Mysterio's
very
boss
good
fight,
boss fight.
dude, that was such a kick-ass boss fight.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved every second of it. Very fun. Another one that I'd give this a shout out to was the Lizard mission. That was really cool.
Uh-huh. I
I
mean, you
like that
said
one.
here, like you've got I put Venom, you put Miles, Peter, and Mysterio. I mean, that's my top three right there.
Yeah.
All
Oh
very
yeah.
good boss fights.
Agree. Yeah. You. I
Yeah.
mean, guys. Jaden has to beat me to it. So, I would have said Venom, but for that sake, let's switch it up a little bit. I'll get some other ones that I really like. So.
All right. Now we're going to move on to miscellaneous things we liked. We have something for this today. For me, simplified enemies. My biggest complaint about the first two Spider-Man games is there are so many different enemy types, and they just keep adding more and more as you go through the game. And it's like, oh, to defeat this enemy, you got to do this, this, this. To defeat this enemy, you have to do this and this. In the first game, the DLC made it even worse. In Miles Morales, you had, oh, to defeat this enemy, you have to use this Venom ability. To defeat this enemy, you have to do this Venom ability, and so on and so forth. And what if you don't have that Venom ability? Well, I figure something out, I guess. I hated that. It was so annoying. This game pretty much did away with all of that. You have, you have enemies, like you have brutes, you have enemies with weapons that you have to like uppercut into the sky. You have the symbiote enemies, which again are just variants of that. You have the hunters, which again are just variants. You have enemies with guns, and that's it. And basically you can defeat all of them in the same ways. The only difference, I guess, the big one is, enemies that you have to parry. But for the most part, combat is much simpler. There's no, oh crap, this enemy, I have to do this on him. And oh, there's this enemy, I have to do this other thing on them. Pretty much all the enemies can be defeated with the same moves. It's just some of them do require slightly different things, but not annoyingly different things.
No. And
Much,
yeah,
much better.
really just really good combat in this game though. Like if
Yeah.
you're a very like combatty, I'm gonna say person, uh, play this game. Oh, so another thing that I liked was the quick fast travel. I feel like in the two previous games, the fast travel was good, but it wasn't all the way there. Like it still took some time to load. But on PlayStation 5, anyways, it is very quick. I mean, I hit the fast travel button. Not only can I go anywhere I want, and it brings me right to that exact location, but it's also it doesn't even have a. It just right there, blam. It's very quick.
Yeah. I actually also wanted to actually kind of elaborate on that because the fast travel, like you said, not only is it quick, it literally takes you to whatever point in the map you are highlighting when you hold the fast travel button, which is insanely impressive for fast travel. Usually it's to specific points on the map. You can literally fast travel anywhere. In addition, the I did actually want to talk about the map in this one. I forgot to mention this earlier, but it is something I did want to talk about, which is I don't particularly like how the map reveal works in this game. In the first Spider-Man, you had to do like a it was like a mini game kind of activity where you'd go to these like police radio towers or whatever. You would like they were not working for some reason. Spider-Man would do some stuff and it would fix it, and they would be working, and you would unlock a portion of the map. There were a few of these for each district of the map. In this game, it's just dark, and the only way to light it up is by traveling to those places. You know, as you travel, like a portion of the map, like under you, is revealed. The reason I don't like that is to get things revealed on the map, you have to just get close to them or just see them in the world as you're swinging around and know where they are. You can also press R3 to do like a almost like a radar pulse sensor that'll show nearby things. I don't like that because that meant that, especially early on, a lot of what I was doing was swinging around while mashing the R3 button to get stuff to like for me to be able to find and do side activities. I did not like that.
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
true.
the mini game thing of the first game where you revealed them was not. I don't particularly like that either, but at least when you did that, it would reveal everything and everything would be revealed, including collectibles forever in that section of the map. Yeah, not a fan. But in this game, I will give them the credit of each district, as you complete more and more objectives in said district, you build a meter, and for every basically 33%, you get like a district unlock. At the first interval, it's rare to like rare tech parts. At the second interval, you have to get to the second interval to unlock fast travel. You can't just do it whenever you want. You have to unlock fast travel in that district. But also the same thing, it also reveals the map and thus everything on it again except spider bots I mentioned earlier. So that's kind of annoying. I do like the whole complete a portion of the district to get the map unlocked, but I feel like maybe that should work for it unlocks collectibles, but activities I feel like should just if there's not something you can do to instantly show where activities are, I feel like they should just be on the map.
Right.
But yeah, I did love and hate had some issues, some things I liked about that system. Anyway, now we're going to talk about what we did not like about the game. For me, one of the things about the story I do not like, I specifically did not mention earlier because I thought I just mentioned it here, is the story presentation, how the story is presented to the player. Sometimes I have an issue with. And there are two, I think, really, really big examples of this. Number one, Peter basically dies. Like before the symbiote goes on, he is basically dead. Like he is taking his last breaths. His heart might have stopped. He was dying. The symbiote saved him. And then you do your next mission as Peter, and what happens? Miles calls you. Dude, I heard you almost died. That's crazy. And that's it. Like it's never addressed again. And then, Peter has the symbiote suit. He, like it always does, starts becoming a huge jerk to everybody, eventually gets it off, and he wants to apologize to everyone. How does he apologize to MJ? He calls her and on the phone says, "Hey, I'm really sorry about how I treated you. I'm so, so sorry." She's like, "Yeah, you better be, simp." She calls him a simp. It's insane. She doesn't actually call him a simp, Cam. That was a joke. Laugh at it.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
I, I know.
yeah.
I didn't want to laugh at that because I was like, I hope he's not being serious.
No.
Because yeah, you sound too serious there for that
Yeah.
one. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's so annoying to me that this huge moment of Peter almost dying, you think like Miles would find out in a cutscene and he'd be like, "Oh my, like I should have been there, man. I'm so sorry that like you almost died, and I feel like it's because I wasn't there to help you. I'm not a good enough Spider-Man. I knew it." Like just building on his story of his self-doubt he was kind of going through in this game. And then flash forward to Peter apologizing to MJ. If I was a huge jerk to my girlfriend because of an alien that hung itself to my chest or my body, took me over or whatever, I feel like that apology is a face-to-face conversation. I wouldn't just call and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry. which they did kind of have that moment later on when they did interact in person. I think that's after MJ is turned into Scream, which,
Yeah,
by
see,
the
I
way,
kind of feel like,
by the
yeah,
way,
for that
Scream's
one,
super cool. It's weird to me that what could have, kind of maybe heartfelt or building on the narrative cutscenes, they just had phone calls while you're playing the game. It's not like you're just sitting there. I mean, I did because I felt like these phone calls were important, but yeah, it's just like, nope, you get to it's like, nope, just phone call, swing around, buddy.
yeah, I feel like, in my opinion, the way they play that off, he says sorry later on, right? When
Yeah.
they finally have an in person reaction. But also,
Yeah.
I feel like his way of saying sorry too was saving the day.
I
I
mean,
mean,
no,
at the end of the day,
I
like he
feel
did
like
what he had to do. So
no,
I
I
feel
mean,
like to me, like
I feel like you still got to apologize.
no, I get you.
I don't agree with what Cam's saying. Don't let me in with him. But yeah, just the fact that your initial apology to MJ that you were just a huge jerk to is to just call her. I'm like, nah, that's a face to face thing, man. I don't know. I didn't like that.
I get you.
That's
I
the
get
story
you.
presentation I didn't like. And also this is something I kind of went over earlier. Too much Peter and MJ. And I specifically mean the characters Peter and MJ, not Spider-Man, Peter Parker without the suit on, MJ with just there, Harry with their one. Cam, I don't know how you felt about this, but their faces looked weird. I don't know what it was. Haley agreed with me, but like every time they were on screen, I'm like, dude, just something looks off about their faces. I don't know what it is. Something's different. It
I
looked
think
weird.
the thing I would say, in my opinion, I think they just looked a little too digital.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
know. Like,
okay, like the best way to describe it is, it looked like they took their characters and then put
uh
them on
huh.
like one of those like corny like Facebook mom Snapchat filters. You know, I'm talking
Yeah,
about
maybe,
it like takes
but
away like some of the details because
it's
I feel like to me
weird.
they just looked too pale, like not pale face. They just looked their face didn't look detailed, and I think that's what made them kind of look off.
Yeah, it's like they changed Peter's face from Spider-Man to Spider-Man Miles Morales and even like the Spider-Man Game of the Year edition. And I know a lot of people didn't like that. But it's like this isn't even that guy, I think. It looks like a completely different face than that person even. And yeah, it just looks weird. MJ, her face also looked weird. Harry's face also looked weird. Every other character looked fine. Or like at least the same. Like Miles, his mom, Haley, Genki, like all
Yeah.
of them looked the exact same
Now
as they
Miles'
did
hair
in
changed,
Miles
right?
Morales. His hair changed, but his like
I
actual
like it.
face was the same.
Yeah, no, I
And
like his hair though. His hair is
yeah,
cool.
but it's like the three of them, their faces looked weird. And also, as I said earlier, I just like did not really care about that story with Peter and Harry and reconnecting their friendship and wanting to change the world and
Oh, really, man? I
MJ with
loved it,
her
man.
drama. Yeah, I just was not into it. I liked the
Oh,
Miles stuff, but that stuff I feel like it dragged on too long. The whole let me tell you, Camp, the mission where you were at what is it like Coney Island playing carnival games
oh, the
is
games?
one of the I was cringing so hard at that. I was like there's just something about that to me just felt so awkward and just
No,
I did
I
not like
agree.
it.
Here's the thing. I think now I can agree to you that they were corny. I agree. I thought that they were stupid. I can't lie. The games, I was laughing at that because it was especially funny to me when you get on one of the rides and they're
Uh-huh.
together and you just hear like in the distance people screaming, like
Yeah.
it's faded, and
Uh-huh.
like you hear talking somehow, muttered
Uh-huh.
talking in like the rides, and
Yeah.
you just see them and they're just there like press
Yeah.
like put their
Yeah.
arms up or whatever, and they're
You
just
can
sitting
raise
there.
your controller to raise your hands up
Yeah, that's all. Like they're just sitting there. It's just
and
so funny to me. Like there's no
like
like screaming. You know, I don't
well you
know.
can press a button to scream but again it just all sounds so it was just weird and I did not like it. I feel like not the superhero Spider-Man but Peter Parker and MJ and Harry like all on screen too much. I did not like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you got, bud?
Honestly, I actually listen. You know, there's the question of what we didn't like. Man, I love this game.
Yeah.
You can ask Jaden. You can ask Noah. I love this game. There's not too much. I can understand what people are coming from, like Jaden. Some of
Uh-huh.
his frustrations, I understand. But overall, man, I think this is just a really good game. I mean, I as much as I'd like to hate or try to hate, I don't. It's a good game. I think it has a good, interesting, neat story. Now, the whole Hunter thing is what I think stupid. Okay, that's true. I'm never mind. I'll take back. The one thing I will say is the whole Hunter part, I was not interested in. That was stupid. I thought that was dumb. I didn't understand the point of it. He didn't really seem like he had a big idea being there. That was
Yeah.
dumb, right? He felt more like a filler character than he did a real boss,
Yeah,
right?
he was
So
very much just a plot device.
yes, I 100% agree. That was stupid. But besides that, though, man, gameplay is amazing, story is amazing, graphics look great. You get
I
a
mean,
bunch of stuff. Overall, it's really
yeah.
good. I'd recommend.
All right.
How about replayability, Jaden? What do you think?
Oh, it's a beat and delete.
Yeah, me,
I mean,
I
it was
agree.
fun. It was fun. I would say it's probably more replayable than either of the other two games because the gameplay is, I think, that much improved with the swinging and the combat. But the game doesn't have New Game Plus currently. When they put New Game Plus on and probably add a trophy to beat the game on New Game Plus, I might play it then for that trophy. But yeah, it's a beat and delete for me in general.
Yeah, I agree. I think you could go back and play it again, maybe if it was like remastered or something. But besides that, it's a beat and delete. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a really good game, but those when it's a game like that where it's a story, in my opinion, I it's a beat and delete.
Yeah. Anyway, I feel like Cam, you already said your final thoughts about how much you love this game.
Yes, I did.
So
So
I'll
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yep, I'll go ahead and just wrap it up here with saying, okay, Spider-Man 2 is a fantastic game. It improves upon the original two games in every single way except the story to me. And that's not even it's a bad story. It's just it just took a lot longer to hook me than the other two games did.
I get you.
Yeah, so I mean overall absolutely 100% recommend it. Absolutely incredible game. I absolutely think it probably should have won Best Action Adventure at the Game Awards for just again the gameplay itself is I just don't know. I mean, hypothetically, Insomniac isn't done with that series. I have no idea how they can top this one in terms of the gameplay. They are going to really have to start, scraping for different things.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, that's Spider-Man 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Now we move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
Today, Cam, we are talking about Tales Noir. So, Tales Noir is a furry detective game. What do I mean by furry? You play as anthropomorphic animals. It's one of those kind of like you could say an adult version of Disney's Zootopia, maybe closer to something like Beastars, if you know what that is. Anthropomorphic animals in a not modern day. It seems like it's a bit in the past because technology is a bit older. If I were to try to place a time on it, I would say maybe the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, I agree.
You play as raccoon detective Howard Lotor. He gets a case to find this lady's husband she thinks is having an affair. He looks and looks. He eventually finds the husband dead, and that leads him on a whole giant adventure of what's the word of murder and betrayal and conspiracies. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
How the gameplay works, it's like a 16-bit game, and I would say for the most part, it's just walking like exploring small areas and just
Yeah.
talking to people and investigating things, looking at things, and figuring out what you have to do. I would say it's rather straightforward, except for two places. I don't think you're going to struggle in terms of like, there's not really much about
Mm,
like in terms of detective stuff you have to do. Yeah,
no.
looking for clues and things. Yeah, that's the game. Cam, did you like this game?
Okay. I thought it was okay.
Okay.
It could have let me tell you why it could have been good, but it left me disappointed.
Uh huh.
Okay, now I'm not gonna give exactly why, right? You
Uh huh.
guys have to play it,
Uh
remember?
huh.
So I think it started off very strong.
Uh huh.
The art style and just really the style in general, I loved it. You know, what I mean, it gave me like this classical kind of vibe. I liked it a lot, but the story was engaging. Like I was interested, but they lost me with the stuff near the end.
Cam, I'll just say, I will just say, I 100% agree with everything you're saying about this story. Probably the best way to describe it without spoiling anything is about, I mean, I'm going to say like 80% of the way through this game, they decide to take a huge tonal shift that,
And to me, it felt rushed.
yeah, it very much did. The game ends on sort of a cliffhanger, which I don't know if there will ever be a sequel to play. So you're going to be hanging for a long time.
Yeah, and
Anyway,
and the last thing I'll say about it too is I'll just say this before the end, just trying to figure out the murder and that whole thing was my favorite. I loved it. I was like, you know what, I kind of like this. This is cool. You know what I mean? It gives me like this vibe. I'm loving it. And then they throw this big tank on you, and it just kind of went to nothing.
yeah,
It's like
uh,
they threw a tank, but it's really a truck.
yeah.
So, but like I said, I'd say it's okay. It's an okay game. But I'm definitely disappointed. What about you, Jaden?
I was also disappointed. Very much, I'm in line with what you said at the beginning. It was a detective story. There was intrigue. There was mysteries. There was conspiracy on top of conspiracy. So much stuff. And like when you think you're figuring stuff out, all of a sudden, it again, there's just a huge tonal shift. And I'm like, oh man, can we get back to just being a straight on detective game? Because that's what I thought I signed up for. And I was excited for that. And I was enjoying that. And then this is not great. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, the game is yeah, I mean that's the best way I can describe it overall. Smaller, I guess, to get into more details, I think the game does not have a lot of actual detective work when you actually have to figure stuff out. Like there is one puzzle where you have to put papers with holes in front of other like papers to reveal a door
yeah.
code. That's the only real like puzzle in the entire game.
No,
Um
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Later on you do like you're going through documents and you have to figure out kind of like, oh, this document says this, what do you think that means? Oh, clearly it means this is a high ranking person, whatever. And you have to do that for several documents, but there's no real risk reward there, because if you're wrong, there's another person, your partner you're working with, if you're wrong they just tell you no, it's this, and then you move on. um
Yeah,
and there's
and
no
to me, I'm sorry, just real quick. And to
uh,
me, it also seems like when I was talking to people,
uh-huh,
no matter what, it was just leading to one direction.
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't really like a pick up the clues and try to figure it out yourself. They
yeah,
kind of just did it for you, which is
yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah. And I mean, also, you could say, oh, well, dialogue options, you got to say our stuff. I mean, you don't. I played through the game for trophies, which I'll talk about in a second, multiple times. And no matter what you say in any conversation, it all ends roughly the same way. Um, so all the different dialogue options don't really matter because it all just is the same thing. It all does the same thing. It doesn't matter. Yeah, there's that. And also, I'll be some parts of this game just don't work. Um, this is where I'm going to talk about trophies. There are several trophies here that one, hypothetically, like when I was reading a trophy guide, the person was like, "Hey, all these trophies are possibly glitched where you can only unlock them on your first playthrough. So after every playthrough of the game, which I mean, you only hypothetically have to play through the whole game, almost the whole game twice, and then you play through the maybe first 30 minutes of it, you have to play through up to potentially three times. But after every time you're done and ready to restart the game, you have to go in your console storage and delete the save data because like it's not going to work. Like every guide I read said do that. And I also had to look up multiple guides because there are several trophies here that people on the internet by and large don't know how to get. Like there I found forums and videos and everything of people being like, "Hey, this is what I did and it popped for me, but I can't guarantee it'll work for you." And always in the comments, someone is like, "Man, I did this 3 times, didn't work for me, I'm giving up." Someone else, "Oh, I did that, but at this step, instead of doing this, I did this other thing." Just absolutely insane. Like every trophy has a chance where I actually, to get one of them, the probably I would say the most involved, I had to watch a video guide to figure out what the hell was going on. And in the video guide, the guy's, talking through it, and he's like, "Hey, this is also where you should get this trophy. If it doesn't pop, you just have to restart and get to it again, which is, I guess, less annoying by the fact that if you're, kind of just skipping through dialogues and skipping cutscenes, you could play through this entire game in like an hour. Like a full playthrough of this game you can get through in an hour. But
Yeah, it's not that big. Like I
yeah,
think in total, I probably spent 3, 4 hours on the game.
yeah, like I think my first playthrough, which was blind and using a guide, like for miscellaneous things, but not for the overall game, it took me like 4 hours. And then to clean up and do everything else, which included another playthrough of the game, and then playing through the first 30 minutes of the game twice, it was like ended up taking me like a total of 7 hours, like 3 additional hours to do all that stuff. Yeah, and then also, like I said, that those don't work. There's even very early on, the first chapter, when you have to get into that club, Cam,
Yes.
there is a van parked out back that if you can break into the van, you can get some codes and some newspapers, whatever, and use that to get in the back door using like some code phrases. For that to spawn, for that conversation to happen, for you to give them the code phrases, you have to have the newspaper and the codes in your inventory. I don't know how to get those in your inventory because if you interact with everything in the van and you think they're in your inventory and leave the van, he just won't have them. I literally I got it to work once, and to do that, I probably went in and out of that van and just clicked on the same things, making things appear, disappear, whatever, interacting with stuff, probably 6 or 7 times before it appeared in my inventory, and I never got it to work again. Yeah, it's like just broken, and it's annoying. Like that's an
Yeah,
incredibly annoying
no,
thing I do.
that's true. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
I now it wasn't like a certain scene every time,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know why, but like there was times where my game would freeze for no reason.
I did have my game freeze on me once, yeah.
Yeah, I
So
had it. Now I had it freeze 3 times, and that
yeah,
was annoying. That
yeah.
was really annoying.
I guess luckily the game is pretty good at saving progress where you usually won't lose too much progress if it does happen. But it is annoying. Like there's a lot more technical issues to this game than I feel like there should be for how short and simple the game itself is.
Yeah, I
And the
agree.
story is disappointing. So overall, I think I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to say maybe a no on this one. I think the technical issues might be too limiting.
Yeah. No, I agree because I said okay, and then I forgot about the
Yeah,
technical.
like
I
it's
mean,
like
3 times
yeah,
in a span, mind you, 3 times in a span
yeah,
of a 4 hour
yeah.
gameplay is insane.
I mean,
So
I will give you an okay game, but technical issues on top of that is like, come on, man.
no,
Like if
I
you're gonna
agree.
make an okay game, at least make an okay game that works.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I agree.
that's yep. I was gonna say
No, you're good.
sorry. Anyway, that's Tales Noir. Cam, what's our next indie bit game?
The next game is going to be Carto.
Carto. Never heard of it.
Me neither.
All right. I hope it doesn't suck. That's. I mean, I literally have nothing. I have a name. I have nothing to go on for that.
Yeah, we hope and pray. Oh, I don't either.
Yep.
I do what you do. I kind of looked at it. Matter of fact, I didn't even see how long it is, but I saw it and I
Oh
was like,
boy.
you
I
know
hope
what?
it's not long. You're gonna regret that decision.
No, it's okay. I saw it and I was like, you know what? We're gonna play it. We're gonna play it.
All right. Cool. So our next indie bit is Carto.
Carto.
Carto. I
Carto.
hope that's right.
No, it is. It is.
Okay. Don't forget, everyone, new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show or tell us if you don't and tell us why. Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. Follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. And if you want, you can go subscribe to Noah. He's still making YouTube videos. His YouTube channel, Noah, the Super Gamer Bro, all one word. He's still uploading videos every day. If you want to go support him with that. And yeah, that's all I got. Thanks
Yeah.
for listening, and we will see you guys next game.
Peace. Also, have a good New Year's.
Oh, hey, Happy New Year. This is coming out on
Yeah.
on January 1st. Happy New Year, everybody. Totally forgot to say that. Totally forgot to
Happy
say
New
that
Year.
at the beginning. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year's. Yeah, my bad. But peace.